Hey, welcome to Mossy Oak Moments Live. I'm telling you, I ain't gonna say I'm getting tired of looking at giant deer hero shots, but there's a lot of them. Hopefully you got one that you've thrown out there to share with everybody. Well, we're about to share some live video with you. Great week this week, all whitetails, no ducks. All right, coming up, we got some straight hunting out in Oklahoma, the red dirt world of Oklahoma. You know, these parts of Oklahoma kind of look like Texas, and Texas kind of looks like Oklahoma. What they got in common is lots of big deer. We're gonna go watch O'Reilly Payne, see if he can have any luck in Oklahoma.
So this trip, I kind of got lucky. Jake Meyer, our good buddy here at Mossy Oak, he set this whole thing up with a bunch of licensees, and God bless him, he got COVID 3 days before the trip. And of course, Rusty calls me and he's like, "Hey man, Jake's out, he's got COVID. Can you self-film?" Of course I can.
So it's the first morning hunt here in Oklahoma. We're at Canadian River Hilton. And I'm super excited to be here. Today I'm actually behind the camera and behind the rifle, so I'll be sitting here self-filming, trying to kill a deer. Man, it's just getting light, and I can already tell this place is just, I mean, there's got to be a good deer in here. Number one priority is to get it on camera. Number two is to make a good shot, so we'll see what happens, but fingers crossed, something will happen.
Day one at Canadian River Hilton, it was really cold, really windy. I saw some deer. I was self-filming, so I had, a GoPro in front of me, behind me, the big camera here. So I had my hands full, morning and afternoon. But I saw a few bucks moving around, and I knew once the weather got right, it was going to be good. Day two, I actually sat with Justin Akins, the owner of Canadian River Hilton, the guide service, and so he sat with me, and I was still trying to self-film, but it was good to have some company in the blind.
Not only do we have the owner of the Canadian River Hilton, but he's subbing as a camera guy. Without a doubt, I've been doing this about 5 minutes. My stuff's already in focus, better than John Tatum and Joe White's stuff has ever been out here. So we're probably going to have one of the best hunts that's ever been done since I filled in for Jake Meyer, and probably one of the most in focus films that we've ever had come out of this place after this week. So everybody really needs to stay tuned and watch how this deal all comes to an end. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
During that time, it was cloudy, rainy, but we had a great encounter with a young deer that made a scrape. One of the coolest things I've seen in the viewfinder on the camera. And then we had a buck come in that just was worn completely out. He followed a doe, and she kind of fed around, and he just laid there. He laid down in the middle of the field for over an hour. And it was a good deer, it was a mature deer, but came in, we didn't want to shoot him while he was laying on the ground, and then as soon as he got up, he just walked dead away from us. So him walking out of there actually worked to my advantage. So the afternoon of day two, the sun came out, the weather was beautiful, and we couldn't wait to get in the blind. John Tatum, one of my good buddies, we've filmed together for years, he was freed up and was able to come with me, which was great for me because I didn't have to worry about the cameras and had some company in the blind. So we get in there and, I mean, we immediately start seeing deer. There's deer everywhere. So we sit there for a little while, you know, and all of a sudden I look to my left out the window and there's just a stud of an 8-point.
Just tell me when you get him. I got him. How far is that? About 200. Hold up. Your camera's crooked. I got him. Hold on. Oh, he's fixing to go down. No. Watch him. Stay on it. What about that? Man, better mark that spot. It's a long way, bro. Oh my God.
Looking back on it, I didn't realize how far away the deer was. John was looking at it through the viewfinder and knew that it was a good ways away. It turns out the deer was about 250 yards away. I don't know, looking through that loophole scope, I had it on about, I think it was 14 power, topped on top of the Steyr rifle, and I mean, I was solid as a rock on it. It did not look like it was 250 yards away. I never would have thought that I would be sitting here today telling somebody about the deer that I killed out in Oklahoma.
Oh, cow.
Dude. Look at this tank. Oh my gosh. This is awesome. A perfect Oklahoma deer, the biggest deer I've ever killed. Man, Canadian Ripper Hilton, we've come here for years. I've never been here, but Mossy Oak as a company has come here for years and we're always successful, and now I know why. This is unbelievable. It was just an awesome experience. You know, the Canadian River Hilton, those guys, Justin Akins and his family, what more can you ask for? And I mean, the accommodations, the food, everything was just spot on. And I mean, if you ask me where would you go to whitetail hunt, I would say Justin Akins, Canadian River Hilton every single time.
At the core of all of us, there is a code, a roadmap that determines who we are. Our code is written in early morning sunrises and the anticipation of opening day. Our code is written by the moments that we experience with those we love the most. It's written by the feeling of our dirt in our hands. At Mossy Oak, our code is burned into every cell of our body. It's in our DNA.
I'm 15 feet up off the ground. I got my bow in my hand. I'm not making a sound. I'm just waiting patiently.
So going into 2020 archery season, I was super excited, especially teaming up with team member Curtis Sketch. And first thing we did was get Hunt Stand out. I explained some things to him of the prior years that I've hunted, and he had some different opinions of things, which really helped us out this year. So we made those moves. We did preseason scouting. We hung up our reveals, got some great bucks on camera, and we just hunted hard after it.
Ooh, that smells good. Those golden Esther scrape.
Pretty close.
Pretty close? Yeah. Let's snap that twig off right above your head.
So going into the season, October 1st, opener for archery, also early muzzleloader was coming up on us, and Kurt had an early muzzleloader tag, and the lease that we've got is only a bow lease only.
Well, it's the opening day of early muzzleloader. The corn is actually coming out in the next property over. The cornfield's getting harvested. Crops are coming out super early. Usually it's a really good sign, early muzzleloader in Iowa, if the crops are out. So they are literally picking the corn right in front of us. And our hope is that the deer that move through here, that will kind of actually keep them closer to us. So we got a couple of good shooters on this farm, and hopefully we can get done on day one of early muzzleloader here in Iowa.
We ended up hunting this new farm, and the farmers were out there actually picking the crops. Eventually, once they started to work out the field and get done picking the crops, the does started to move out slowly. They started on the far north end, and it seemed like forever taking their time. And we was just hoping that Kurt would get a shot at one of these does coming in. As we know that the does are coming into the white gold clover plot, we had to really get situated in the blind. We were set up completely different on these deer. We thought they were coming in a different direction. So I had to move. Curtis is already at full draw. The does are 20 yards from us. They're getting a little spooked. I had to completely lean over, and he was kind of looking at my camera telling me where I needed to be. But finally we pulled the shot off, and Kurt put a good shot on this mature doe.
First day, we had the crops being taken out. I was able to kill a doe with my expedition, and yes, right on, man. Yeah. This is what my family lives on. We eat deer every week. Maybe not every day, get sick of it, but we eat deer for sure every week in my household. So another doe for the freezer, and we'll get those bucks dropping here soon.
Now that we got meat in the freezer, we're just waiting for this cold front and the time to be right. We're waiting for these reveal cameras to start going off on our low leash and really telling us where the deer are doing.
You got everything?
Got everything. October 30th. Me and Kurt are out again. We had, this is gonna be our second sit on this farm this whole year actually. So the wind's gonna be a little different this morning, but the deer come from every direction. I don't think it's really gonna matter, the wind. It's gonna be blowing out of the south, southwest. So gonna warm up just a little bit. We'll see how the deer movement goes. It should be good. So Rut is knocking on the door, sitting in between two bedding areas. So it should be good. My fingers are crossed. We'll see you guys in the stands.
Got some movement down in this draw to the east of us, and we've been hearing something, but we've got all of our settlers out. Golden estrus. Right now the wind's coming from the north, kind of north out of the northwest, but the thermals are rising, which is good. So we're gonna sit here, fingers crossed, and see what happens.
We went in there, it's like a normal morning, cool, got a nice cold front, lots of bucks moving around, seeing lots of movement, and then all of a sudden Kurt taps me and says, "Hey, shooter." And it was the 9-pointer, we know him, we've got plenty of encounters with him, but also a lot of trail cam pictures of him.
That's him, Kurt. That's the 9.
And I drew back, did everything perfectly right, and just the shot looked good, but also as an archer, I felt like something was off.
That deer has tore me up the whole morning. That's a third encounter, 2 at 80 yards. I had to sneak it. That was my only opportunity at that deer, and I had to sneak it through a limb.
And we went back and looked at the footage, and the penetration scared me when he ran off, and everything just didn't look right. The landowner actually got a hold of us as we were giving this deer time to even see, where we was when it comes to blood and everything, and said he had some good news but some bad news. And the good news was the deer was still alive, and the bad news was the deer has been harvested by another hunter that was actually hunting the south side of the farm.
Close. No cigar. Close.
Ryan?
Hey, good job, buddy.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line. We looked at the footage in the tree stand. First of all, when I let the arrow go, sounded good, looked good. But when he ran off, I had like this much sticking out, and I'm like, this ain't good. And then we looked at the footage, and we're like, penetration is not, I mean, we're bow hunters, right?
Yeah.
It happens to all of us. It's just, so
he can do
the only thing I'm asking for, if we can make an elk trip out there sometime, you need to shoot one, wound it, so I can catch up to it, all right? You gotta slow these things down for me. That's the only thing I'm asking, so.
I was actually really relieved knowing that something isn't out there struggling and he was put out of his misery, but also he was successful. So we actually went to recover this deer, and it was an awesome experience to hear him tell his story and how everything kind of went down.
So here's the 9 that I shot at 10:30. Weird story, amazing results of how it turns out. So I can't congratulate you enough for doing the right thing.
Thank you.
And you know what? He put a good shot on it, ethical shot on it, and he deserves it. So
we decided to go into midday, and as later the November got and the rut was full swing, we like to hunt middays. Hunt zone was showing us that the wind was going to be out the wrong direction, so we decided to put the Primo's decoy down below us to maybe have the deer focus on something besides just smelling. And we've got a mature 8. We're after him hard. He needs to go. He's got lots of scrapes. We've got lots of videos of him scraping. We've got videos of the reveals. This is his home core. We're going in after him.
Well, it's November 12th. Me and Kurt just got set up. We actually was out here around 10:30. Ready to rock. I mean, the bucks are cruising like crazy right now, so fingers crossed.
And it wasn't but 20 minutes. I gave a rattle in sequence. Here he comes straight into us. He gets to where he gets downwind of us, where Hunt Zone was telling us it's gonna be tough. But he got attention and he seen that decoy, and that was enough to get me drawn back.
Smoked him, dude. Smoked him.
That's a big 8. Hey, I'm happy with it.
He's down. He just went down.
Okay, it's been like 15 minutes. Trying to collect myself because we've had some highs and lows, me and Kurt both this year, and Kurt's glassing some decent 2-year-olds over on the hillside, and I bet you it wasn't 20 minutes later. He's like, hey, there's a small 8 here making a scrape. Then all of a sudden, here comes a buck, and it's the big 8 that we have trail camera pics of. He's a good 8, solid 8. He comes right to us at 32 yards, and I just absolutely smoked him. So we're pumped. Me and Kurt's got our tags filled, and we just wish the best of luck to the rest of the teammates, and they're out right now. So it's been a good year. Expedition, victory, another one's down. That's dead deer.
That's pretty good.
That looks good.
That's penetration right up there.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
That's both lungs.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Let's keep
after it. I feel good about it.
Like I said, it sounded like he was gargling.
There he is.
There he is.
Right there, baby.
He toast?
He coast.
Oh, nice. He's got a lot more mass than I thought he did, dude. Wow. Wow. Good shot, too. I mean, that was all long, man.
Look at that. That is a stud 8.
Hang on a second, man. Let me get in front of him. Put your hands on him, dude.
Oh. Tell you what, this is a huge surprise. Wow. He's been dead for a while. He's stiff. Wow. That's Joker. Good deer. He's got them flat blades.
That's a stud 9-pointer, man. Or 8-pointer, excuse me. What a beast of an 8-pointer,
Wow.
man. He had a lot more mass than I thought he did.
A lot more mass. Yeah. That's a stud. That is a stud of an 8.
We got 2 of that side.
Wow.
Taking a good management 8 off this property is something that we need to be doing because there's just a lot of 8s out there. I was really happy with this 8-pointer and making the decision on taking him. So I can't wait for 2021 to get the reveals out and to start getting prepped for it.
Going into this season, I was extremely anxious to get trail cameras out. I had a few mature bucks that I knew made it through last season. Harper even helped me find the sheds off one buck in particular I was really hoping to focus on this season.
Come on. Where are we going? I can't tell you. Okay, let's go.
Just had 3 does. They came out. It looks like they'll probably work their way down in here. We have standing beans behind us. And kind of some greens in front. This drought this year has made food plots kind of terrible. But I did no-till in some clover and brassicas here. They came up good after the first rain, but then we didn't get rain for like 6 weeks, so obviously dried out pretty bad. But the deer are still hammering it. I would imagine with it being hot, it's in the 70s, they'll come hit these greens and then feed back into the standing beans. Hopefully we'll see a good buck. The rut's on for sure.
It's cold. Bird, there. The anticipation is high leading into this hunt. We saw Scar the previous night from a distance. This afternoon we have a better wind direction to sit closer to his core area and closer to the food. The weather is right and the missed does are starting to come back into estrus.
You went back in the dimmer. What? Okay, we have a pile of deer in front of us. And we just saw a scar buck up where these does came out, and they all worked their way down in near the food plot. There, he's coming back. Is he? Yep. There he is. There's a big scar on the back. He just came out with those 4 does. Man, he's big. 6-year-old buck up here, working his way down here at some does, so the little
What's he gonna do? Bump those all the way down here, hopefully. They're headed this way, huh? Oh yeah. Are you on it? Are you on it? He smoked. He done. Yes. You see all that blood coming out? Yes. It was pouring out, it seemed like, don't you think? I mean, I could see it instantly. Oh, that was awesome. Yes. That was so good, man.
Look at all that red. See that? Like right there on that grass. We're gonna follow it, see where it takes us. Look, there's a bunch right here. Look at all of it right there. See it? It's red, yeah. 6.5-year-old buck. Pretty awesome night. Came out bumping does and came right into the food plot. And they were all feeding in. Pretty cool. We saw him 2 nights ago behind us at the bail blind, and the wind was kind of swirling. And we didn't end up, he didn't come out on the trail. He stayed behind us. But this is an awesome deer. He disappeared a couple months ago and I thought he was gone. It was cool to see him show back up. Definitely at the top of the hit list this year.
Connor's making noises.
He is. Hey Harp, thanks for helping me find him.
2020 was a tough year for so many people. I think we all appreciated time outdoors more so than ever before. There's no better place for me to clear my mind and appreciate everything I've been blessed with. I'm so thankful for the time I was able to share outdoors with my friends and family, and I can't wait to make more memories next year.
Say thank you, Buck. Thank you, God, for giving us this big buck.
That's a little book.
Oh, it's a little buck? What? A little head? Are you sure? I think you're silly.
Genesis 27:3. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out to the field and take me some venison. This was Isaac talking to his son Esau. Before Isaac was about to pass, he wanted to share his blessing with Esau over a meal of venison. Even as far back as the times of the Bible, venison has been important to the human race. So now, join me and my blue-collar team as we chase giant whitetails across the Midwest. Our goal is to make you a better hunter. I'm Ben Rising, and this is Whitetail Edge.
Thank you, God, Jesus Christ, for this amazing green.
Yeah, baby. I'm about to go lay my hands on probably the biggest buck I've ever shot.
I just smoked the sheriff.
Yep, he's going down, sis.
Beautiful buck. I couldn't be more happy to take him back home to Indiana.
There he is.
Oh my gosh.
I just smoked a giant on a Black Widow mock scrape, baby. Yes.
Hi, I'm Ben Rising. Welcome to Whitetail Edge. This week you're going to be following along with me as I'm in Kansas. And I'm kind of hoping for a repeat of the year before when I killed on the first day.
Yes.
I smoked him, dude! Oh my gosh! Unfortunately, as you'll see, that did not happen. But what's so awesome is that we actually went to the same spot because we had the same wind, the same situation, same time of year as the year before. And I was hunting the downwind side of this thicket where I made the long shot on that buck right there the year before. And I was telling Kyle, I was like, could you imagine if we killed on the very first morning again out of the same tree stand, the same setup, and you know what? Lo and behold, it almost happened.
Getting ready to walk back in here. We're gonna hunt the same tree that I killed in last year. The wind's perfect for it. We just got in, the tree's already trimmed out, so I don't come to Kansas in the summer and do prep work. It's just so far away. I just can't get the time to do all of them, so I just come here and I go at it when I get here. So I know this tree's already trimmed. We got the right wind for it. The cows are out of here now. They're not in this spot. It's a good thicket that deer always hold up in, and so maybe, you know, it's almost November here, so maybe we'll get a buck, you know, moving around looking for doe here, cruising. We might try some calling this morning, but we're gonna get after it. We need to get in there.
I call this buck in, and it was just a matter of inches for him to step one direction or another, and I could have had a shot. that deer was just quartering to me too much. I just didn't want to take the shot. I probably could have, but it was the first morning. It wasn't like a giant, huge deer. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to wait. I don't want to push it. And I think I made the right decision. It would have been awesome to kill on the first day. Dwayne was around Kansas too. We were going to be seeing Dwayne and Matt. And so, you know, I kind of wanted to spend some time with them and hang out with them. So I wasn't like too rushed. So we got some days ahead of us here, and we're going to grind it out and see if we still can't get on a good deer.
I'm going to load this thing up. And we're in Kansas here, and before I make the wrong exact, there's my location right there. I'm wanting to get right down in here. I think these deer are traveling this just like this, coming right through like this. So this way we can get down in there. We're just wearing regular clothes right now because we got our clothes to dress in because it's pretty warm. We gotta walk down here and hang this set, and then we're gonna hunt. Just hang and hunt it. Hang and bang.
So after not taking a shot on this deer, it's grind time. You know, we're going to be going into spots, and I'm going in, hanging stands. These Noviks are awesome for this because, you know, they're light. You got the stacking sticks, you know, these stackable sticks that we can go in there and we can get up in these trees. You know, they really make it nice. cool encounter. Kyle could have almost kicked him at the base at one point. I think he's going up to the bank. Should have just shot him. We'd be done. I can remember this one morning, and this is an encounter we're going to show you right here. We call this deer Arnold. He's like, because he's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, this dude is like built, and he's got a neck the size of a truck tire. And we call this deer right to the base of the tree. And I mean, he's mad. He is mad. If he had half the rack, if his rack was half the size of his attitude, he'd have been a 180-inch deer. We're in Kansas. Just got in the tree here about a half hour before dark. We've already had a doe and a fawn, I'd say, walk through right at like 12 feet from our tree. They headed up into this bedding area. We're hoping a buck. We can catch a buck coming back in here. It's kind of a tight, thick spot on one side of this tree and a little bit more open on the other, but the wind's swirling in here. We don't really have any choice. This is the place we gotta hunt today, so hoping that the time of year, the phase of the moon coming together is gonna make it work. Give that a shot, see what happens. I got pretty aggressive for the first round, but I know there's a couple big mature deer in this property, so maybe one up more spot. Right over here. That's an old breeder deer. That thing's like 10 years old. You tell me the black rack don't work. That's proof right there. Nothing gets you going like a whitetail. When they're in the right mood, they're the funnest animal in the world to hunt. And I think they're the funnest to hunt all the time anyways, but I know elk hunting's fun, but whitetails just, I don't know, they're aggressive. It's amazing how they'll just fight anything. As you can see, that deer is awesome. I mean, I should have shot that deer just because of his age. I bet that deer is 8 years old. You know, I didn't go to Kansas to shoot that deer. I probably should have, like I said, because really, it was a great hunt. I mean, and that deer had us jacked up. I mean, he's honest. It just goes to show you how calling with, you know, the black rack and the extinguisher, how effective it really is on these deer. And I mean, they come right to you. And I call a lot when I'm out of state because my time is limited. You know, I need to make something happen because a lot of times I'm not on a specific deer. So I use the calling techniques, my knowledge of trying to find deer bedding areas, doe bedding areas and things. I get on the downwind sides. I set up to where deer can't get behind me, and I call to them, and I try to make things happen. And it's worked. And you can see in these hunts, we've called in numerous deer right to the base of our tree on these hunts. It does work, and it can work for you. Well, we're getting ready to go in and hang some stands. My favorite thing. I got some new Noviks here. Got my Tenzing sitting on the back here. And I'm gonna carry my clothes in because we got a little bit of a walk. And we gotta hang this set. We haven't been to this farm yet at all this year, so I'm taking everything in with me so I don't get all sweated up. Too bad anyways. This is my hillbilly system of carrying my clothes. I couldn't live without these big rubber twist ties. So freaking smart. You know, they're just survivors. Before they get themselves in a situation, they want to check it out. Now I'm hunting in the same tree. It's a couple days later. I'm hunting in the same tree that I killed Evander a couple years earlier.
Yes! Yes, baby! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I don't believe it. That is Evander.
So you can see right there, Evander's working this scrape. Again, perfect scenario where the Black Widow deer lures work. We knew where Evander was at. We knew what he was doing in this bottom, how he was working does. We knew it was just a matter of time for we were going to catch him right here on the outside of this bedding area. It's the same tree. It's red moon. The moon guide is saying we need to hunt, so we're getting after it. And we had a buck encounter. I tried calling to that deer, but he did not want to come in. He kind of had that, like, man, I'm a little bit nervous. And I kind of wondered right there, I was like, you know what, there might be a bigger deer in here right now at this moment. So I'm going to back off, I'm going to quit calling to him, and let's just see what happens. Not quite a shooter. This is the same stand I killed Evander in last 2 years ago. He's a more mature deer. This deer's trying to circle his way out there, get downwind of us. I'm afraid he's going to get so far he'll cut our track. Another one of our tactics is using the Black Widow. I use the Black Widow doe ear, like the matriarch or something. And I don't necessarily use this as an attractant when I'm in a tree stand. I use this as like a cover. I spray it into the air, especially when I got deer starting to go downwind of me. Wasn't 20 minutes, Kyle's like, I hear a buck running down in the timber. And sure enough, a doe comes bolting out into the opening, and he said, there's a big buck right there, big buck. I'm trying to, get an eye, and all I can see is big, tall tines. And I'm like, heck yeah, man, we're going to shoot this deer. Well, this buck comes out. He's pushing these does a little bit to the west of me. And I'm like, uh-oh, this isn't good. They're going to go around to the other end of the thicket, and they're going to disappear. So instantly, I go into calling mode, trying to test this deer to see if I can turn him or whatever I can do. Once I started tickling those antlers with the black rack, and I grunted a couple times more, bam. He drops off them does, and he is coming on a string right to us. Just shot this buck, rattled him in with a black rack. He was pushing does back here. I grunted at him a few times. I got him to leave that doe, turn and come into the black rack. He stopped. He was quartered to just a little bit. Where I stopped him and there was some weeds and I couldn't quite get where I wanted to be, but I shot through those weeds and I think I hit him back just a little bit. And it's a little low, like the exit hole looks like it's almost right at the white on the other side. He ain't gonna take it, he'll die, but it's just not as fast as normally I'm used to watching him fall over. We're just gonna sit tight and just not mess with him. This buck's coming in exactly like Evander did. And I mean, it's all replaying through my mind. This is like the greatest little fence gap in the world right here. And here he comes. He's coming right into the shooting lane. I get him to stop. I'm at full draw. I get him to stop. And soon as I shoot, he takes a step. And so I did not make the best shot. I know if you watch Whitetail Edge a lot, you see the shots I make on deer. I'm not bragging, but I usually make really good shots on these bucks and they don't go far at all. I'm a little disheartened. 2 reasons. I shot the deer a little farther back. I knew that we were going to have to give this deer some time. Even though I'm using a Mega Meat by G5, big, huge cutting hole, I knew at that angle we weren't going to get a lot of blood no matter what, because they just don't bleed good when you shoot them in these spots. I knew I had the penetration because I'm shooting heavyweight, not super heavyweight. I'm shooting like 67 pounds. I'm shooting a Black Eagle Zombie Slayer. with the mega meat 100 grain broadhead, and then I also add, my guy at the archery shop, Ryan, he added 30 grains to the front of my arrow. So I had a lot of driving force, and so I knew that my penetration was awesome, and I wasn't worried about that. I just knew we weren't going to get a lot of blood. The other thing was once the deer finally closed the distance, I was just so wrapped up in that we finally were on a deer that had a good rack that I really wasn't paying attention to just how big he was. And this deer was not as big as I thought. I'll admit it. He was a nice deer, but he wasn't really the caliber of deer I typically go after or shoot, especially in a state like Kansas. And he wasn't an old deer. I'm not going to sit here and say this was some big old mature deer going downhill. He just wasn't. This deer just tripped my trigger, and I kind of messed up. I shot a younger deer, and I kind of feel bad for Travis because, these guys try hard on these properties that we're allowed to hunt on to not shoot young deer, and here I go and shoot, a 3.5, 4.5-year-old buck that we probably should have let walk. But the damage is done, nothing I can do about it. My focus now is to try to recover this deer the best we can.
Well, after looking at the footage, slowed it down, recorded it on the phone, looked at it. We know it's a bad hit him midsection. The deer took a step. You can see if you slow it down, he took a step as I shot. I'm still not happy with myself, but it is what it is. So now you do your part as a bow hunter. You don't push them. You just get out of here. I got my arrow. There's blood all over it, but it's definitely got gut and greasy belly fat. So we just got to get out of here and give him plenty of time to expire. It sucks. It's just part of deer hunting. I don't normally make shots like that, but it happens, and I don't know. I'm just not used to it, but I gotta deal with it and do the right thing, and we're gonna back out of here and leave him alone. Today is November 3rd, Tuesday, first day of the red moon. Deer on their feet. It says peak activity 1:49 a.m. bedding area, 2:13 edge of field transition rows. Transition zone moonrise 6:56, moon set 9:27 a.m. We always talk about how when the moon's falling late in the morning, it's going to set at 9:27. So that means there's 2 hours, 2.5, 3 hours of daylight with the moon still falling. That keeps deer on their feet. They're working, they're moving around. They're not back to bed, and that's exactly what was going on this morning. And it's been going to get really hot here in Kansas. It was 75 yesterday. I was sitting in the stand with my t-shirt on. Well, the mornings luckily have been getting cool. It cools overnight, and the deer get up on their feet in the morning, and they're moving around in this moon phase period. So that's the one blessing we've had with this hot weather, and it paid off this morning. We just kept grinding, finally got one to work, and we was able to put an arrow in it. So not the best shot, like I said, but we're gonna find him. That he could be dead by now, but we're gonna give him plenty of time just to be safe. There's no point in pushing him. I always say like this: if he's dead now, he'll be dead in 3 hours from now, 4 hours from now. So it's no big deal. Well, we're here. We're gonna go in. We gotta go look for this deer early. My wife is at home, super sick again. You talk about bad luck, but she's been sick for a while. She's been telling me not to come home. She said she's fine. She'll get through this. Could be COVID. She tested negative, but now here we are. And she's being rushed to the doctor because she's not doing good, and I'm in freaking Kansas. And I've been begging her to let me come home, and she keeps saying, no, you don't want to be around me. Acted like things weren't so bad, and here we are, and it doesn't sound like she's doing very good at all. So we don't even know what she has. So I've got to go in here sooner than I want, see if I can find this deer. Maybe the good Lord will bless us and this deer will be laying here dead, and we can get this thing and we can get on the road headed for home. So we let this deer lay probably 6 hours, and Travis comes, he joins the party to look for this deer. And so it's me, Travis, and Kyle looking for this buck. And we kind of we don't have no blood to go off of hardly at all. We just got little specks, and we finally lose the blood once we get into the timber there, and we've gone about 120 yards, and we have zero blood now. So at this point, it's kind of like, okay, everybody take their best guess and start looking. And after about 25 minutes, I hear Travis yelling, and he found it. So I get running over there, and sure enough, Travis found this buck. I don't know how he saw it. He's tucked up under a treetop in a log.
but man, was I excited to see that, because, you know, nobody ever wants to lose an animal. Nobody feels good when they make a bad shot, but it happens at times. And, you know, it was nice to recover this animal the same day. We were able to get the footage and do the recovery, spend time with friends like Travis and Kyle there. You know, it was great. And the deer, you know, he's not a bad deer, like I said. He's got a good rack, he's tall, he's just not a super old deer, and he's not a super high scoring deer. He's tagged and in the back of my truck at this point, and that's all we can say about that. Hey guys, Ben Rising here with Whitetail Edge, showing you this nice buck we just harvested in Kansas. We've been running and gunning all week using our OnX Hunt app. Really, it's a lifesaver when you're hunting different properties and trying to get stand locations, figure out wind directions, property lines, where you can be, where you can't be. The OnX Hunt map system completely changes everything for us. There's no way that I could possibly hunt without it anymore. I'm so used to it. Having the app on my phone, it's kind of like my Bible anymore. It's just, it's a great tool to use. I highly encourage you to download the app if you haven't, but OnX Hunt maps are the real deal. So here again, keys to the hunt, you know, we can talk about. First thing, obviously, was the moon guide. It's the red moon, you know, and the moon guide is telling us that we need to be hunting, and so we're hunting. I knew the farm a little bit. That was some experience I've had. We killed a deer in the same spot years before, so I already knew how deer worked this farm. Knowing how to call deer, you know, being able to use all the tactics I can in my arsenal to be able to get a deer in front of me. And we pulled this deer off the does and put him right in front of us. And I think those are the major factors here on this hunt. So thanks again for watching Whitetail Edge. Join us next week as we follow Cody Griffin in Ohio as he kills a monster whitetail. But you're not going to want to miss this hunt because it's awesome.
Another cup, another tank of gas. One more road sign I just passed. Looks like I'll be just in time to see that sunrise in the blind.
All right, here we come again. That's what I've been waiting for all week. Ingredient Wild with the Barbecue Ninja. Listen to this. Asian boar belly tacos. Now, you ain't gonna find that in Cuz's recipe book that I keep at home, but I'm all for eating anything wild. Wild boar belly, I don't know, but if anybody can make it taste good, it's the Barbecue Ninja.
Hey, Craig Verhagen, the Barbecue Ninja. Coming at you from the hunting camp at Mossy Oak. The recipe I got going on here is gonna be a Cosmo Q sticky Asian taco, and I'm gonna make a slaw here that's gonna be a peanut ginger slaw. The rub I'm using is Killer Hogs Hot. We're gonna make this a little bit spicy to go with the sweet. All right, there we go. Let's go to the grill, make this happen. It's not gonna take long to sear these off. You just wanna get a good char caramelization on the outside of this. Boy, that's pretty. So what I gotta do next is I'm gonna make the slaw. This is the ginger peanut sauce here. This slaw, after it gets mixed up real good, it needs to sit for about 15-20 minutes. The ginger peanut is basically peanut butter, fresh ginger, vegetable oil in there, vinegar in there. It's got a little honey in there. There you go. That's all it is to it. Got a good sear on the wild boar belly. We're gonna cut these into little cubes. Now we have the wild boar belly all cut up and cubed up. We're gonna go into the flour and cornmeal mixture. I'm not a little at a time guy. I go all in. Gotta love that sound. Happiness. All right, these have been frying right here for about almost 5 minutes. You can see they're golden brown. That's the way we want them. We want to have a little crunch texture on the outside. So when we hit them with that sticky Asian glaze, they'll be sweet and crunchy, salty. We'll add a little more of the Cosmo Q Sticky Asian. Oh, wow. Perfect grill marks on here. All right, we're gonna build this with some slaw first. Oh, yeah. This is gonna be awesome. Bit of toasted sesame. And last but not least, some fresh cilantro. It almost looks too good to eat, but not really. Bam.
What matters to you right now? If this past year has taught us anything at all, it's that we need to redefine what matters to us. What matters to us is spending time with our people.
God, we thank you for this food.
And giving thanks for all that we've been given. At Mossy Oak, what matters to us is helping you get closer to nature. What matters to us is in our DNA.
All right, in this episode of Homegrown Experience, we're following my hunts in the Kentucky season of 2020, all the way from early September hunting, archery, all the way to archery hunting right before gun season in early November. This is a culmination of many hunts, and we were targeting 3 different mature bucks that were on the farm, and they kept playing cat and mouse with us, and finally we caught up with one. The first hunt in early September, we decided to target this deer we named Drago. He was a 7 to 8 year old deer, very mature, very smart. He'd seen it all, and he was using a clover field in the middle of the farm, and the only blind we had in there was a redneck right on the edge of the clover. Unfortunately, being that early, it was also very hot. On the way in, we have a method which a lot of people are using now, is we use our trucks to drive us to the blinds or the stands. That way, if any deer are in the fields early, that the truck will run them off and they're not alerted to the presence of humans coming in with camouflage and whatnot.
All right, we're back in here hunting on Drago. I think this is our 4th night in here. And the only thing we can figure about this deer is that maybe he's using the wind. And we had a big wind change. It's moving from the east. Now it's blowing across the field. So we're thinking he's using multiple fields and maybe only come to this field when the wind's in his face. So, you know, we have an ozonics. We're gonna try to do our best to be scent free, but hopefully we pull it off. But I think that's the only way we're gonna get him, is we gotta hunt the wind that doesn't work the best for our scent. So we're gonna give it a try, see what happens. Reluctant to close these windows. It's so hot. At some point we're gonna have to close them up here and try to control some of our scent.
In this early season hunt, we were hunting out of a redneck blind, especially in early season with the amount of scent that is in the air and the deer can detect that. We found that using rednecks not only is more comfortable, but also conceals our scent better, and we can even close the windows and wait till the ideal moment for a shot to open it and harvest the deer.
Here we are, October the 9th, hunting in Kentucky here in 2020. We're hunting for this deer we named Drago. We've been sitting on this deer probably 9 times now. He's just a ghost. Nobody's ever laid eyes on him. He's just one of those smart deer that it seems like, you know, you're never on him, and he's always doing something different. It's really warm still. We're kind of having an Indian summer. But you know, it's Friday night and all of us had a chance to hunt, so you're not going to kill them on the couch. So we're sitting out here and just hoping for the best. And hopefully old Drago makes an appearance in here. He's just a big old mature deer. We know he's in the area. We know he's been in this spot before, so, and he was here this morning, so we're just hoping for the best. Here we go. Coming in a little bit after daylight. Thought it'd be better than bumbling around in the dark. We're hunting this redneck back in the woods. And yeah, we're gonna get in there, and we got lunch. We're gonna sit all day. So it's been raining for a day and a half. This first clear day. It's almost Halloween's tomorrow. This is the time. So we're gonna sit all day. We packed some calls this time because a grunt call or a rattling might work today. I don't know, but we're planning on getting in here and sitting a while. So let's do it. Ultimately, we never harvested Drago on these first early season hunts, and he just disappeared from our life. So we decided to shift gears on our next deer, which we called Christmas Tree. Christmas Tree was using a really small core area, and he was occupying this wood strip, which we had another redneck back in the woods actually, and we decided to sit all day, and the deer were moving at odd times, often in the middle of the day. This particular stand site where we have the redneck is on a beautiful oak ridge that was torn up with scrapes. Even when we walked in to hunt, we saw brand new scrapes that had been laid down the night before we even hunted. So it was a perfect ambush site where in the mid-season that he would be chasing and looking for does, and we thought it was a perfect opportunity to sit all day on it. Sun's coming out, so it's a full moon, and a lot of times in the full moon they start moving in the middle of the day. The last couple of days our camera in here has been picking up some really big bucks, anywhere between 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock, so we've seen a couple does, and we're just sitting here, and it's a little cold, and the sun's starting to pop out, so we're thinking maybe they'll get up and start moving around. Just a waiting game at this point, so we got plenty of food and snacks and stuff, so we're gonna sit it out. So
I thought it was the 3, but I've seen like 5 or 6 go through. Oh yeah. There's that buck.
we just saw a line of does pushing through, and then a couple minutes later a little buck came through. Looked like a 6-point, a good size 6-point, was running them around. So we're starting to see some movement. Hopefully this is a sign of things to come. We noticed in this season, in 2020 particularly, we started seeing a tremendous amount of coyotes on our trail cameras. Groups of 5, 3, 2, almost all over the farm. And sure enough, on this hunt, a coyote coming through to inspect the area. About 5:30, we finally started seeing some deer movement. We saw a buck heading our way.
He's turning walking away.
I decided to try a grunt call at him, thinking that he might come to investigate another buck and might be tending does. And it was, in fact, it was Christmas tree. He was kind of quartering across the ridge. We've been seeing so many coyotes on the farm, and then all of a sudden we heard what it sounded like 30 coyotes. Sometimes it might only be 5 or 6, but hearing that many coyotes calling together just raises your hair up. And that night, seeing the sun setting right at prime time, hearing that call really kind of drowned our spirits.
We're back in this blind field, and I sat in all day the other day. We took a day off yesterday because it was Halloween and we all got kids, so trick-or-treating and candy took precedence. November 2nd, 2020. It's November the 6th. We're still hunting this buck we call Christmas tree. This deer's just like a ghost. He's been coming in here at night. If anything, we'll see our pet squirrel we've been watching for a few days here.
We hunted several more times after a Christmas tree, who was very secretive deer. He would rarely make appearances. You know, we'd noticed in years past he shows up more in late winter. So we decided to shift our gears and start hunting another buck on the farm who was a 5-year-old deer we called Little Glenn. We decided to go after Little Glenn, who was a 5-year-old deer that we'd been following for years. We had pictures of him from when he was a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, and then now 5 years old. We have sheds of them from 3 and 4 years old before this. Little Glenn moved into a different area, and we decided to use a mobile redneck, which is a redneck blind that put on a mobile trailer with wheels that we can move into different locations depending on where the deer shift to. We pile in the mobile redneck blind. At first we don't see anything, and then of course the first encounter we have again is with a coyote.
He's about 70 yards walking this way. Right up the middle of the field.
Our first encounter, we noticed a small buck that was heading our way with a few does. All of a sudden they lift their heads up and start looking around, which usually means someone else is coming.
It's a devil. It's a bigger buck. It's a big deer. It's a big buck.
I couldn't see in the direction where all the deer were coming from, but Field Hutnell, who was filming this hunt, could see down in that direction, and all of a sudden I could hear in his excitement he was seeing a big buck heading our way. He didn't know exactly who it was, and I couldn't see it, and I didn't want to lean out, but the more he got excited, the more I got excited.
Man, that looks big to me. Is that a big deer? Who's that? That is. Three coyotes. Yeah, there's 3 coyotes right there.
First we see 3 coyotes in the corner of the field where they all came from, then 4, then 5, then believe it or not, we had 8 coyotes in the field after all the deer left. Our first reaction was maybe to shoot one of the coyotes to try to scare them out of the field, but we decided to shoo them out with our hats or trying to just scare them in order that maybe we had a chance that little Glenn could enter the field once again. This would be a coyote hunter's dream, to have 8 coyotes in the field, but a deer hunter's nightmare. After this frustrating hunt, we hunted several other times to no avail, and the rut's starting to peak up. But all of a sudden we shifted our gears around and started finding deer. We're using thick cover and starting to tend does. So we moved our sets over into the woods. When we found that he was using these woods, we knew he was tending does. We kept getting pictures of him locked up with does. And this ended up being one of the most exciting hunts of my life that I'll never forget.
Oh my God, we did a field. We did it, dude. We did it. He's huge. He's a huge deer.
I'm but a boy, though I own a heart as old as coal. Searching for something in the forest where I stroll. I'm out here 'cause I got nowhere to go. The open air and the trees known to soothe the poorest soul.
Well, we're on our way up to Michigan to do a hunt with the Foundation for Hope. It's an organization. I met those guys about 15 or 16 years ago, and just everything clicked right from the get-go. So I'm excited to get back up there and get another hunt underway. All right, so it's the first evening, and I'm gonna be hunting with Zach this evening. We're over here in the shooting shack, getting ready to start practicing up. We bring all the kids down, they get sighted in, and then we'll be ready to go out for an evening hunt. So we're gonna go in here, let Zach shoot a few times, and he's cracking me up. He's already breathing hard, just sighting his gun in. So it's gonna be fun in the blind tonight. So we're gonna go get him sighted in and get ready to head to the woods.
Zach's from here in Michigan, 17 years old. Have you killed a big buck before? No. Okay, so we're going after this first big buck. He's got Grandpa back here with him. Good luck charm. So we were just getting settled in the blind, and we actually saw some bucks off working through the woods. So we're trying to get in here and get things ready as quiet as possible. But we've been to the range. He's sighted in, and so now we're just going to sit tight. Hopefully the deer will move here, because if we kill tonight, we get to sleep in. So our plan is to kill tonight, sleep late, and get up and eat gravy and biscuits. How's that sound? All right, that's like a country boy's dream. So we see that we got some bucks working in here right now, so we're going to get set up and hopefully see if we can't get something done here real quick. Wish us luck.
That's how you kill a deer.
Hey, gee.
Won't you G's me? I'm G'ing you. See him? She's trying to run. He's down.
What just happened, buddy? Congrats. Thank you. You're as cool as a cucumber.
I wasn't telling you to be comfortable. I was telling me. I'm the one who was nervous.
Some loving.
That's how you kill a deer, too.
Dude, you made a perfect shot. That was awesome. Oh, man. So we got a big buck down.
And now
Zach's first buck.
Now I can sweep in.
Now we're getting sleepy. That's right. All right. You better come this way if you want to find him. He's definitely grinning now, ain't he, Grandpa? See those tall weeds right there?
Yeah.
You see that antler sticking up?
Oh, I see the brown.
Right here on the ground right in front of you?
Yeah.
Let's go see him. Oh, you made it perfect. Oh, dude. What do you think about that monster? Golly.
I can't shoot my dad.
So, you know, one of the cool things is with this foundation, we do everything we can to help the kid be successful. And so it's so awesome to see these kids to be successful and get to share that with them and their parents. And, you know, a lot of times we hear that this would have never happened without our help or, you know, things, but it's just amazing to be a part of that, see the smile on their face when they get to harvest their first deer. All right, so it's the second morning. Zach got his deer the first evening, so now I'm gonna go out with Gavin this morning and hopefully we can make it happen with him.
Okay. I thought he was one of the ones fighting. No, he's the one right there standing on the left side. You gotta wait here. Come on, dude. Alright, just pick his head up. Just Yep. Nice shot, buddy.
Sleeping in tomorrow, boys.
Cool, that dude. So right from the get-go with Gavin, we had deer as soon as we got daylight enough to see, and the deer that he had actually seen some pictures of that he wanted to try to get, we saw him coming in the field. Gavin's cool as a cucumber, got on a deer, made an awesome shot. You know, then on the way to recover it, it was cool. He called his grandma.
I'll take 19. 19? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, did you count these extra little points right here?
That counts.
Oh, all right. Then yeah, it's 19.
And she was tripping out about it, and so we just had a good time celebrating with Gavin on his first deer and a really nice buck. So, you know, one of the things that really hits home with me that I love about the Foundation for Hope is that it's a Christian-based organization, and the whole goal is to set up an experience for these kids where we want to really roll the red carpet out for them and help them to have a great time, but at the same time, it's, you know, we know that we're blessed to be a part of this, and we're just passing the blessings on to these kids and these families, and we wanted to create an experience through, you know, the camaraderie around camp, the campfires, we set up archery ranges, all these things, you know, that we want to create an atmosphere and show love to these kids. We just want to glorify God in it, and at the end, you know, we want the harvesting of the deer just to be the icing on the cake. That's the experience at the camp, and that's our goal. And so it's just, you know, the people that we do this with, I don't see them sometimes for a year, but because everybody's on the same page and the same common goal, it's like we pick up right where we left off, you know, and it's just awesome. I can share that with my family, and I think there's no greater thing that I can share with my kids to teach them about sharing the love of Jesus Christ with other people. So I'm truly blessed to be a part of this. It's as big of a blessing for me and my family as it is for these kids and these families, and just truly, truly thankful to be a part of it.
At the core of all of us, there is a code, a roadmap that determines who we are. Our code is written in early morning sunrises and the anticipation of opening day. Our code is written by the moments that we experience with those we love the most. It's written by the feeling of our dirt in our hands. At Mossy Oak, our code is burned into every cell of our body. It's in our DNA.
All I got is time.
All right, coming up, Mossy Oak Classics. Now, let me tell you something. I'm a little bit prejudiced because I filmed this hunt, but anybody that doesn't find this entertaining and educational and fascinating, I don't know what to tell you. Barry Wenzel, I was with Barry and Gene Wenzel up on the Milk River. They used to have a lease up there. And I went up there, and the warmest it got was -5. That was the high anytime I was up there. But Barry ended up shooting a deer, and I did a radio show the other day, and we did a trivia question. What was the name of the deer Barry Wenzel shot on the Milk River on the highest rated episode ever? And it was split ear. He walked up to that deer, this was on the cuff. That's so split ear. This deer's been terrorizing all the girls at the elementary school. It's one of the best hunts ever, and if there was ever a classic, this is it.
I was a deer hunter long before I was a man, Gene writes. I was fortunate enough to have a father who loved the outdoors. His biggest passion in life, other than his family, was the whitetail deer. Dad started taking us into the woods when we were 4 years old. He's gone now, but the love he instilled in my brother and me will last a lifetime of long deer seasons. As usual, the Wenzels had done their homework and knew this trail was being used by lots of deer on their way to an alfalfa field. Barry had predicted that if the wind held, he'd see lots of deer, and he was right. Moving early and often, several small bucks passed by before the deer of Barry's choice strolled into range.
Perfect shot.
Thank you.
Man, Barry, how many deer did we see? How many do you think we saw?
Just that one old doe and a fawn. Unbelievable. Man. I didn't want to shoot that first 5x5. He was too spindly, you know, and that other one had kind of short tines. This was only a 5x4, I think, but he's got good long brow tines.
He's wide.
Yeah, he's a nice buck. Let's go check him out. Okay. Looking good. I don't know if he even made the fence.
He is huge. Get around there and pick him up.
Beautiful buck. Man, I love it.
That was a great hunt. Oh, man. How many deer walked right by us?
Yeah, there's a few of them there. Wasn't there?
I mean, there were several.
I got the shadow grass pants on and the breakup jacket and stuff. You notice that, you know, there's
Never
a
saw
bunch
you.
of them looking around and none of them ever saw me.
Not a single
No, not a single one.
That's a beautiful buck.
It sure is.
I appreciate you sharing it with us.
My pleasure. That away.
This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by the specially designed, agile, and durable Tenzing Hang Time Lumbar Day Pack. Go further, hunt longer, Tenzing.
All right, well, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Louisville's Dream Season Live. And as you can see, got some arrows in and just trying to stay sharp in this late October time frame. As you might be able to hear behind me, it's a really rainy day here in southern Iowa, and we're excited to show you what's on this week's episode. So now we're going to join Alex Duncan on her early muzzleloader hunt. Her and Chris had a great evening. She was able to fill a tag of her own. As you saw last week, Blake was able to take a buck on the farm that they all share together. Congrats to him again. And then we're going to jump to Taylor Riggin, get an update on what his season's held so far, and hopefully get an insight to what his rutcation plans are. So overall, excitement's high in the team around here. Can't wait for the rut to hit and see what bucks hit the ground. But right now, we're going to jump into Alex's. We hope you enjoy the episode.
It is October 23rd. This is my last night of hunting early muzzleloader season. We have a straight east wind tonight, so Chris and I came down here early. We got the blind moved to the other side of the food plot. We figured high risk, high reward. The homebody 8 has been showing up here pretty frequently, so fingers crossed he'll come out tonight. As usual, frequent schedule the past few days, he's been coming across here around 7:30. So hopefully with the change in the wind, he comes out a little earlier tonight, so fingers crossed. They're starting to pile in. If I don't get a shot at a buck tonight, I do plan on shooting a doe, so gotta stock the freezer back up. That deer's gonna be a friggin' giant. Alright, there's 2 bucks in the field right now and 2 does. One buck is a really nice 4-year-old. Gonna be an awesome deer in a next year. He looks just like the buck we call Big Mac, definitely an offspring. And then we got an 8 out here. But there's still plenty of light left, so.
Look, he's fighting with that 4-year-old.
This dude's walking right at us. Looking in the blind.
Yep, and she's blind in her eye. As long as she doesn't blow the field out. She is close. That shooter.
Okay, well, let's get this window open. Now she's walking the other direction. She's perfect right now. Can I kill her? Do you want me to kill her?
Whatever. Just went down through there.
She did?
I think so.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised she even made it that far. But as close as she was. There's about a couple minutes left to light, about 5 more minutes, and I just made the call to shoot this old blind doe. So we had an awesome 4-year-old come out that we haven't seen on hoof yet. So he's gonna be a great up-and-comer, another really nice 3-year-old 8. So overall, it was an awesome night. My last night at early Mossy, and I was able to film my tag with an old mature doe.
Big old doe.
Well, here she is. Chris and I had the mindset coming in tonight. We've had kind of an off week, haven't really been seeing any mature bucks on their feet quite yet. So came in here tonight saying didn't get a shot opportunity again tonight. I was gonna take a doe, so I was able to wrap my early muzzleloader tag around her. She's the first deer that we've harvested on our farm. So, and we were also able to see one of our up-and-comer awesome 4-year-old bucks tonight. So he'll be a fun one to watch here the next couple of years. We have a lot of hunting left to do this year, so keep following along with us on Loophole Stream Season Live.
So that was a pretty cool hunt with Alex. It was a fun early muzzleloader season. Unfortunately, her hot streak did not continue. I think this would have been like the 5th or 6th year that she had filled her early muzzleloader tag, but now that we have our own farm, we're really wanting these deer to get to 5 years old. That buck she passed though is gonna be an absolute stud someday. Next year, I mean, who knows what he'll turn into. He's gonna be an awesome deer at 5 though, and we're looking forward to continuing to follow along with him and other bucks on our farm. With that being said, the time of year we all love is here. I can't believe it. Deer are really starting to move. You just never know when that giant's gonna come cruising by. So we're gonna be in the field as often as we can over the next couple weeks. I think Alex took off like the 8th through the 12th, and she'll have a weekend on both sides. I'm not certain what I'll do yet, but probably something along those lines. I know the other team members on Dream Season Live will be out in the field as well. So hopefully we can fill some tags. Hopefully we'll have some really cool hunts to bring you right here on Dream Season Live.
Hey guys, it is mid-October here in Iowa, and I am excited because today is my first hunt, the first time I've set foot on my new property. This is the first time I've set foot on here actually hunting. We purchased this property in December and I could have hunted it last year. I threw some cameras up and had some great deer on camera. I just decided that before rushing into something and jumping out there and shooting deer that I had no history with or anything, I was going to give it a year and just put as much work as I possibly could in on making this a good farm to hunt. I'm excited. Tonight is my first night and I am sitting in what I'm calling the watchtower blind. This blind is a hawk office blind on a 10-foot tower, and it's literally sitting on the highest point in my entire farm. Tonight is more about getting out and learning how the deer use the property. Not to say that I can't kill something right here. This food plot in front of me has really greened up. There's actually a possibility that I could kill something tonight. But again, this is more about learning the property and figuring out how the deer use it. I'm excited. My first night actually hunting this property, and we'll see what comes up. We'll see what happens. It could be a good night. Almost 6 o'clock. There's a couple pretty good young bucks, 2-year-olds out. Shadows are starting to get long, so I would expect that if I'm going to see a shooter, it'll probably be in the next 15 or 20 minutes. It's good to see deer up on their feet, out feeding. There's another doe right here. Try to be really quiet, but that deer that's out there is a really nice 3-year-old. Awesome character. His beams wrap around. He's got splits. Great brows. He's just gonna be a giant someday. He just needs to get old enough. He'll be there. He's gonna be a giant. Well, that was a really cool encounter with that 3-year-old. I'm one that likes to look back and make sure, verify all the time. So you go back and you take a look at some trail camera pictures. And last year was my first year on that property. You know, I just knew that that deer was very young, but he had the potential wraparound beams, split 2 already, as what I thought was a 2-year-old. And then right away again this year when I get pictures of him this summer, leading into shedding his velvet, I just knew immediately he had to go on my pass list. He's got everything you want. He could be a future mega giant if he can get some age to him. So I'm excited to see him in years to come. He's just not quite there yet as far as I am concerned age-wise, but I'm actually going to shift gears a little bit. Normally here at the beginning of November, I would be sitting in a tree stand any opportunity that I got, but I'm going to switch things up this year. I'm heading west to go do an elk hunt, a rifle elk hunt in Colorado. And so this is going to be something a little bit different, but we got a cold front rolling in here in Iowa. Things are about to kick off. It should be some hot action coming up very soon for the whole team at Green Season Live, and I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody puts down. So I thank you again for watching. Stay tuned, keep coming back, and keep checking back on DeerCast for Green Season Live.
something new and a term that I'd never heard of before is scent imprinting. And this particular product from Analogics, Scent Attractant, X, actually scent imprints. So what you're talking about there, if you've been feeding a deer, say during the summer you're doing camera surveys on Analogic Supplement Gold, where there's a strong odor to that feed that deer love and they come to it, it's very attractant. Then in most states you have to remove that before the season ever hits to make sure that you're legal. You have to remove all portions of it. Well, you can now legally put out the same scent that was with the feed that drew the deer in during the season with X. That's what scent imprinting is. The feed smells like that, they're used to coming there. Once it's gone and you're legal again, then you can legally put out the smell with X. Give it a try. Pretty cool theory.
What matters to you right now? If this past year has taught us anything at all, it's that we need to redefine what matters to us. What matters to us is spending time with our people.
God, we thank you for this food.
And giving thanks for all that we've been given. At Mossy Oak, what matters to us is helping you get closer to nature. What matters to us is in our DNA.
Hey, if you made it all the way to this point, you're hardcore. I love watching it. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, the Mossy Oak Go app, you already know it's free. If you got it downloaded, that's cool. Make sure your buddies do too. We'll see you right back in here, 7 days. Happy hunting.